Welcome everybody, and thanks for joining. Wishing you all good afternoon in the UK and a cheery good morning over in the States. Today's session will be very practical. We'll walk through real scenarios, show a live demo, and leave time at the end for a Q&A. So, before we jump in, it's important to set a little bit of context. Most traditional ERP systems are built for stock-based manufacturing, where you produce standardized products, keep inventory and fulfill orders from stock. The focus there is on efficiency, repeatability, and managing inventory levels. But project-based manufacturing works very differently. Every sale is unique, and instead of delivering from stock, you're delivering a full project. That project typically involves multiple stages: design, procurement, subcontracting, production, and often installation on site. And all of these need to be coordinated around a specific customer requirement. So instead of just managing products, you're managing timelines, dependencies, suppliers, and execution. And that's exactly where traditional ERP approaches start to struggle, and where a more integrated project-driven approach becomes critical. So to walk us through this, I'm joined by the founder of ERP Gap, Diogo, and Enrique, the project manager with a great background in the furniture industry. So it's over to you guys to introduce yourself.
Thanks, Will. Hi, so my name is Diogo. I'm ERP Gap CTO and founder. Myself, I started doing Odoo in 2010. I found it because I was working at a company, and I needed something that was modular and could grow with the company without breaking the mold of the software itself. And back then, Odoo was still a community project, and I found it was very interesting, and so started doing some projects. And back in 2015, I started ERP Gap. Now we are doing client projects mostly around the globe. We have 26, 27 people working with us permanently on several different types of projects. Since we started so soon, we got projects in different countries, and so now it's typical for us to do multi-company, multinational projects, but we are very involved, especially with the UK and the US. That's where most of our clients are, and where we are Odoo partners, and we've been serving our client base for a long time. So about the furniture industry, I think it was by just merely coincidence. We have got several different types of projects. Like Will said, we got what we call projects that are driven per order, where clients try to fulfill their orders. Some of them more custom, bespoke furniture, high-end furniture usually. Some others are more streamlined, so they have a fixed assortment of options that the client can choose. And some others are doing a bit of both. Then we have this project-driven furniture manufacturer, which is more typical, for example, for commercial projects like restaurants, bars, and hotels, and everything you think that requires more than one product and has a lot of tasks that need to be coordinated. And the person that has been more involved in these projects right here is really Enrique, and he is also worked in the industry, so he can speak much better than me about the subject.
Yeah, thank you, Diogo. I've been working in Odoo since 2019. Throughout my career in 2022, I was able to switch a little bit, still integrated and still using Odoo, but I was able to be more hands on deck and work directly in the industry of furniture. That brought me a lot of furniture expertise and understanding more of the business. That's why today I lead lots of projects regarding furniture. And as Diogo mentioned, we do kind of a little bit of everything in the furniture industry, from project-based orders to just simple produce small factories that also produce their own furniture and then sell it directly to the client, or even when there are companies that have only subcontracting and only deal with frames as well. Now I'm after those many years in the industry, I came back and now working again with ERP Gap and leading new projects and coming up with new solutions for furniture businesses.
Sorry. Yes. So I guess we can jump on to the demo, Enrique, right?
Yes.
Let me just stretch the screen and people will be able to see it better. Okay.
Perfect. So I prepared a little bit of one of each example that we come through pretty much on our every day, and I'm going to walk through each one of those examples. If you have questions, don't hesitate to comment and just leave a note, and we can clarify any of your questions. So right now we're looking at the UI at the main screen of Odoo, and I'm going to jump right into a sale, and we will then from the sale explore a little bit into the products, and now everything is connected. So I'm going to click here where it says sales, and I'm going to start a new quotation. I'm jumping right away into the sale. Of course, Odoo and any ERP system, and Odoo has a great one, is the CRM, right? We can start our opportunities with a CRM in our pipeline, and then come, of course, to the quote. Right here, we start filling the information we need from our code. So I'm going to set here a customer. We have an invoice address and a delivery address. In this case, we have this customer that has a restaurant location. The system already put it here because it's associated with this customer, but we could change it to any other location. We could put here an expiration date by default, and again, this is something that we can configure. Our quotations have an expiration date of 30 days. That's why it's showing May 22, and then later, this is something, of course, it can be configured.
Just a short note, sorry, Enrique, sorry to stop you, but I feel we also have to explain people that Odoo can work with multi-companies, and it's ready and localized to be working in several countries, and thus you have the price list, which is in USD, that's the demo, but could be any other currency like British pound or euro, whatever. But yes. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, price list, and then of course we also have all these payment terms that will then reflect on the quotation. As Diogo mentioned, this could be applied to multiple companies, and we can have specific customers to specific companies, specific price lists as well. This will then all be managed from the main screen, but you could just switch here between companies. Now that we prepared the basic configuration of who's the customer, where we're delivering, the expiration date, we confirm the price list and the payment terms, we can now add a product. I'm going to start with a simple product that I created. It's going to be a dining table. If I click here, it's going to show me all the items that I have available in the system. Another great way to look for our products is looking here directly in our catalog. So if I just click here in our catalog, I'm able to see everything that we have for sale in our with the images directly from a catalog view. We could then have tags and the product categories to filter these products in case we have thousands of them. We could just click add, then change the quantities directly here, and then put it back to the quotation. I'm going to remove it here, go back to the sale order, so to show the other other options that we have to add this. So directly here, again, as I did first time, we can just start typing the name of the product, and I'm going to select the dining table. So before, as you saw, we had multiple dining tables, right? Because these dining tables can have different materials, and all of these options that we call attributes, the attribute in this case is the material with the values walnut or oak, can be configured to any option that the client might choose. We don't like to overcomplicate. We normally try to simplify it, of course, with the information that is required, because here we can also add then the type of fabric that's going to be needed, if it's going to be needed, as we can see here, the materials and size. Another important aspect and detail is if there are certain, for example, materials that as an extra price, we can already configure this either per the attribute or per the product. So inside this product, the dining table, the medium has an extra $10. But if I have a different, for example, a side table, which the medium is an extra $5, we can configure within the same attribute different prices for different products. Right, so let's say the client wants a walnut medium, and then the system here adds an optional product for us to add. Let's say we wanted to add this dining chair, and the client wants to add 4 of them. We could just simply, by these 2 clicks, add the dining chair to the quotation together with the dining table. So when I click confirm, you'll see we have here our basic quote. We have here our unit price, the taxes. These are set by default. Again, as Diogo mentioned, we can have Odoo can be prepared for different countries, and each country has their own taxes and their own fiscal positions, and the system will handle those accordingly. Then here we could check a couple more informations. We could see, for example, the cost of each one of our products, right? The margins. Here we have this margin. I'm going to delete here the chair. We'll look at the chair later in the video, right? And we have here our dining table. Now, before we proceed and before we confirm and see, or right now, actually, I'm going to confirm it, and then we're going to see the details on the product. So I'm going to confirm this. And before now we proceed into checking the delivery and the purchase that the system created, let's take a look inside the product itself and see the product itself and see how it's configured and why it's behaving the way it's behaving, right? So the first question Odoo asks us is, what's the product type? If it's a good, a service, or a combo. In this case, we're going to keep it as a good. It's something that it's a physical good, right? Then we have the invoicing policy. This means that when are we going to invoice the client for this item? Is when it's ordered or when it's delivered. Per my experience, most of the times it's when it's delivered. But again, this is per company choice and the way they handle all the inventory. And then we have here the track inventory option. Even though it's a good, sometimes there are small things that companies don't like to track, for example, like screws, duct tape, or paint. If it's something that's not trackable, we can just remove it from here, and the system's not going to track it and kind of like handle it as a consumable instead of a trackable item. We can also put it as a track inventory. And right now we didn't overcomplicate it, but of course, and the great thing Odoo has is we have an option to track products per serial number. This is very useful in case you want to have a pedigree for your furniture. You can keep track of who made it, when it was made, when it was sold, how it was sold, even for sorry, I'm missing the word in English.
When it was manufactured, also.
Yeah, I wanted to mean. So you have 2 years of free repairs.
Oh yeah, for
warranty purposes. Sorry, that word missed. For warranty purposes as well, it's a good thing that you can keep track as well. Then, as we saw, we had the variant and the attributes and values, attributes and variants. And here we can have, again, as I mentioned, as many as we want, the way they are displayed, and if they are creating variants or not. So there are products, of course, the type of product, walnut and oak. These are 2 different goods with 2 different with two different materials. So we have two different products, because even then they can have, for example, different costs, different sales prices, and they have different internal references. Okay. Going back now here to the product, we have here the sales. We put the optional product, as you just saw, of the dining chair when we're sending the dining table. Here is where we select all the prices lists. As Diogo mentioned, if we had a euro price list or a British pound price list, who's the vendor for this chair? Then we put this option of replenish on order, meaning that we will never have stock of this item. Every time it's needed, we're going to create a purchase. As I mentioned, we're going to simplify it. So as you saw, and all this configuration, we confirmed the dining table, and the system created us the delivery for the restaurant location. And visually here, it's a great thing about Odoo is that everything is visual and connected. We can see already that we don't have the dining table walnut available. We can click directly here on the not available, and the system is going to show us the forecast history of this table. We have 0 on hand, 0 incoming, and we have 1 outgoing. So we have -1 forecast. Here we'll see that we need 1 for sale order 10, the one that we just created. And we see here that we already have a request for quotation, which is a draft purchase order for PO008. If I go back here to the sales order, I'll check here. I'll see here that I have a purchase already created in an RFQ, so in a draft status, for the dining table walnut. Once I confirm it, we're now ready to receive it, be billed by the table vendor, receive the item, and then be ready to send it to the client. Our expected arrival, let's say it's the 29th. When we go back, look here at our dining table, we now have an expectation date.
All right, Eric, but I think you're doing this in terms of setting the context, right? What is just one order, but I guess the main objective here would be to explain how to wrap this up in a project, right?
Yeah, so in a project, and I've prepared other ways, but I'm going to jump right now into the project side, and now projects are going to be handled. Again, this was one of those examples that we don't need a project-based order. It's just a simple client just came in and ordered a table. Now, to do a project-based, and I already prepared here a quotation template. Quotation template is, let's say, it's something that it's already pre-prepared a template of a quotation ready to be sent to the client. I prepared here this table set template that's going to include a dining area and then a relaxing area with 5 dining tables, 20 chairs, and then 4 lawn chairs. And we have here our project Kickstart.
Yeah, so just to add here, we can have much more than we need on the template, because we can always remove products, right? And so, for example, if I'm a salesperson, I can just be talking with the client and adding numbers in the quantity. And at the end, I'll just remove the ones that we don't need, right? But the template allows us to do this kind of thing. But
yes, exactly. While the template, we should have as much information as we can, and then we can just simply still add products, change the quote. This is just a template that start off. A great thing about it, about these sections that Diogo was mentioning, that is also very good, is the fact that here on these options, we can, for example, hide the prices. Let's say the client, we don't want to show the client the unit prices of each one of the dining tables and the dining chairs, neither the prices of the lunch chair. We could hide, and then when we're showing to the client, they will see the dining area, the total of the dining area, but they won't see the unit prices of each one of the 5 dining tables and the 20 dining chairs. This is one detail. And then, as Diogo mentioned, let's say you send this to the client and the client says, okay, I don't want the relaxing area. So we can just easily from the quotation template, delete this information. Now, as you see, we have here a product called Project Kickstart, and I'm going to quickly just show you how this works. This Project Kickstart is going to be a service, and it's going to create an order, a project, and a task. It's going to create a task within a project pipeline, and that pipeline, as we will see, it's manageable, and we can change it anytime we want. So I'm going to confirm here really quick this sales order. And as I confirm the sales order, we now have a purchase, a manufacturing, and a project with a task. Let's focus on looking into the project, because from this point forward is where pretty much the order is going to be controlled and where all the information is going to be available. So as I click in the project, and as I mentioned, we are now within the task pipeline. I created this simple one: assign project manager, site survey, in production, balance payment, complete and ready to ship, or something that is on hold. One good thing is we can automate actions within these stages. So, for example, if I want an activity to be created or a reminder to be sent to a team member when this is created, we can automate this. And Odoo has this great tool of do internal communications, which is very useful. But then inside the project Kickstart, we can start assigning team members, adding descriptions, start creating subtasks for things that need to be completed. If we want to create a subtask to follow up with the vendors, another subtask to follow up with manufacturing, any type of communication and subtasks that we can create. Then all of them follow the pipeline. However, the great thing about the project is the way we can reach anything that belongs to this sales order. And by putting here our top menu available, we are now able to see anything that is related with this sales order. So here our sales order is sales order 11, and before I move into here the sales order, let's, for example, look into our dashboard. Here in our dashboard, we're going to have an overview of what's part of this project. So in this project, I have sale order 11 that's going to have these 5 dining tables and these 20 dining chairs. I expect to invoice 2,275. I still have to invoice this amount. I have invoiced 0. Same here. We sold 5 and 20, and we haven't delivered any or invoiced any. As we go through, and this is a good way for us to keep track of everything that it's going that sell order, more specifically in this project. Now, if I look here on manufacturing orders, I'm going to see that I have my dining chair walnut to be manufactured. I need the raw dining chair, right? And if I look here into our purchases, we have here our vendor for the dining table as well. And then here are sales orders. We just had this sales order. But let's say something for this project was needed, for example, an assembly, and we needed to create an extra purchase order for this specific project. So once I confirm here, and I can just confirm here, if I show you now the dashboard, our dashboard is going to have now a cost because we just had that purchase order. But I can add extra purchase orders. So I'm going to come here and add for the share vendor any other assembly. I'm going to create here an assembly service of $15, sorry, and confirm. If I go back now here to my dashboard, we now have the plus the 15 pounds, the $15 from the purchase that we just created, right? So it's the 500, it's the untaxed amount, so it's the 500 plus the 15 that it's counting for our expenses. Same thing with the manufacturing. In case we need to create a new manufacturing, we could easily just create directly a new manufacturing, and we'll keep track of everything directly here from the sales order, so from the project. Another thing that can happen is, let's say the client comes up to you and says, all right, actually, I do want the relaxing area. We could come here and change directly the existing sales order, but that would not make us, would not let us keep track of that this project was changed mid project run, right? So we could also create a new sales order for the same customer. We could even grab the template and remove then what we don't want, right? The whole section, save, confirm. The system creates again, everything that needs to be created for this specific loan share. And if we look here into our task, we now have 2 sales orders, and in our dashboard, we're going to have more materials to be sold, right? That is, now we have sell order number 12. So this project overview, again, we can come back here to the tasks as we go through, as things move forward. We can just drag and simply drop this project kickstart task throughout the pipeline. As I mentioned in the beginning, Odoo has a great tool in terms of internal communication and sending messages even to the clients. Here, our log notes option is where we log an internal notes. We can even tag team members if we want to directly mention them to the order, and we will have an history of everything that happens and is communicated within this project kickstart.
And sorry to stop you, Rick. We also, and this before we were using full project for manufacturing, we also used for the sale order itself, right? Because in some industries, we have approval stages like drawing for approval, cut for approval, sample for approval, or customer on material. And you can do it directly on the sale order if you only have one sale order, you don't have a project. And you need some validation steps to make sure you have the correct requirements to proceed with the manufacturing of something, right? So maybe that's also you can show something you can show there, how we do it with the activities.
Yes. So again, this log note and send message and activity that we were just talking, it's something that's across all modules in Odoo. One thing that we can do, and again, this can be automated with, for example, the variants that we talked. If a product requires a drawing for approval, it requires a CAD drawing, we could have an activity, a specific activity called, for example, CAD drawing required. Maybe we can have it as even upload a document, and we can say CAD drawing for approval. We can assign the team member that it's gonna is going to be responsible for this CAD drawing approval, and we can set up, for example, due date. We save. And now this user, in this case, it's me, sees that it has here an activity to upload the document, the CAD drawing for approval. The great thing about these activities is that every user can click here on the clock at the beginning, at the start of the day, and see everything that they have scheduled late for today or for the future. As I look here, this one that I just created, it's now set for the future CAD drawing activities. Of course, I can just check all my activities that I have scheduled.
Thanks. Yeah, I think that's a great thing. You have the options of managing the project tasks in the project context, right? But inside each document, if it is a sales approval or if there is something on the manufacturing process, you need some information from your colleagues. You can also log a note and call out to somebody. That's a great thing. It's all out of the box in Odoo, right?
Yes, it's all off the box. And one thing that I didn't mention, and it's also very useful, for example, the first stage here is CAD drawing for approval, right? After our engineer sends the CAD drawing, the next phase is going to be send it to the client. We can create activities, follow-ups, and create a plan of activities that will, for example, CAD drawing, that we can then have a specific template that will remind us to send to the client. So we're going to, for example, create here a document to do for the default user, it can be for admin, right? And we can start adding here all the information. So this one is going to be CAD drawing. And then the second one is going to be send an email, send drawing for approval. It's normally called DFA. Right, and send DFA, and then we can be also, for example, a call to confirm approval, right? And this way, when we start doing our CAD drawing plan, after the first activity gets confirmed, the system, after this first activity gets confirmed, the system is gonna automatically suggest us to send to the client, right? So we would mark this one and the next one. Sorry, it didn't validate, but the next one would be here, right? Send send DFA and then confirm approval. I didn't put the due dates, but of course, then this can be configured if you want. If you want 1 week of a difference between the drawing and then sending, and so on.
Just the automating, the automating. If there is a certain product, then we need to trigger a certain set of approvals. That is a little customization we do, right, Enrique? It's not out of the box.
Yes, it's a little bit of customization if we want to do it with the attributes. Otherwise, again, we could just schedule the activity and click CAD drawings. And once we have the due dates correctly, we could automatically just do this, which is something that it's new on version 19. And I believe that's why we did customization on the other versions.
Yeah, correct. Sounds great. Yeah. Cool. Then we get the subcontracting. I think we also have a great solution for that, right?
Yes. So subcontracting, and it's one of the things that throughout my experience, I see that a lot of furniture companies use. And the big problem about the subcontracting is the traceability and how things are pretty much our track between one and another. I have this quick subcontracting example. So for us to fabricate the lawn chair, right, we need to do an assembly in our warehouse that's going to take 60 minutes of the upholstered frame lawn chair. But to get this upholstered frame lawn chair, we need to subcontract it from upholstery vendor, and they need our raw frame lawn chair. So I did it from the finished product to the beginning, but looking at the raw frame is we're going to provide this raw frame lawn chair to the upholstery vendor. They're going to subcontract it and give us the upholstered frame lawn chair. Then we are going to assemble it in our house and have the final lawn chair. So this, besides having subcontracting, it also has in-house manufacturing. So going here into the sales, and I'm going to create a new one for our customer, and I have here the lawn chair Lenovo. I'm going to confirm. I'm going to duplicate here this screen because we're going to need it later so we don't lose track. So what the system did is, okay, you need the upholstered frame from lawn chair Lenovo, which is not available. But the system created here our purchase for our upholstery vendor for the upholstered frame lawn chair Lenovo. When I confirm this order, you will see that the system automatically creates here the resupply and the receipt. The receipt is to receive the upholstered frame, but before we receive it, we need to resupply our upholstery vendor with the raw frame from lawn chair Lenovo. I check availability, it doesn't have any availability. Again, by clicking here on the not available, we can see exactly what's pending. So in this case, we have one outgoing, we don't have any on hand. This product is not set to replenish an order, meaning that it's not set to create a purchase every time we need it, meaning that we could keep stock of this item in our warehouse. One great thing that I feel it's good to mention is Odoo has an option for reordering rules, meaning that if we have an item that we know we're going to have stock on hand, we can have reordering rules so that the system will always won't never let us go below a certain quantity, and will suggest to create it will create automatic RFQs for us to reorder that specific item. But going back here and looking at the forecast, looking that I don't have this on hand, we can quickly replenish it by clicking directly here, say what's the quantity that we are replenishing, and what's the route we're going to do, and who's the vendor that's going to sell this item to us. So,
but just sorry to stop you again, Enrique, but also this we are buying the frame. but we triggered a reordering rule, but we could also be triggering a manufacturing order to create a sub-assembly, which is the frame, right? It depends if the
Now,
client does the manufacturing of the frame or if he just purchases it outside.
yeah. So looking back a little bit how we did it last time, this happens because this product is set as a purchase. It has a purchase supplier, and on the inventory it doesn't have the replenish on order. The replenish on order is what would make us it will automatically create a PO. And as Diogo mentioned, if we had the bill of materials for the sub-assembly, we could also have it, and the system would automatically create that replenishment with a manufacturing sub-assembly. But again, we simplify it a little bit. Then if I just do here a quick refresh on the resupply, let me come here to our purchase that we created. Sorry, it's this one, the PO13. Then when I confirm, going back here to our resupply, it's now expected to be received. I'm going to receive this raw frame from the vendor. And now here, doing a quick refresh, I could just do there. We have now the raw frame Lawn Chair Lenovo available to be resupplied to our subcontractor upholstery vendor. After I validated, I am now ready to receive the upholstered frame after, of course, this upholstery vendor does their subcontracted work. Again, looking here at this upholstered frame, if we look at the configuration, we have a sales price, this cost that comes from the bill of materials. And this bill of materials, if we take a quick look here, is a BOM type that is subcontracted from the upholstery vendor, and they need the raw frame Lawn Chair Lenovo that we just saw the configuration. So now we're ready to receive the upholstered chair. They fabricated it, and we have it ready. Now we'll look into our manufacturing order for the finished lawn chair, and we have the upholstered frame lawn chair Lenovo available. And in our work orders, we are now ready to start our assembly. This operation, and maybe not going too much into detail, this is an operation that it's part of an assembly station. It's a work center, kind of like a workstation that we can set up. And inside of each work center, we can, for example, put a cost per hour per each work center, or a cost per hour per employee if we want to track the cost per employee. There's a lot of other setups and other configurations here on this manufacturing site. Something to go into detail maybe on the next on our next presentation. But we could then keep track. Again, all of these costs are set and are and affect the cost, of course, of our lawn chair Lenovo. We can then look into our manufacturing tab, and I can quickly show you here in our manufacturing. We will then be able to see everything, all the plans per work center, anything that needs to be, of course, have a start and end date. You can have here a start and end date, and we'll be able to see everything that is scheduled. But again, this is more on the manufacturing side and something to talk maybe on a future stage. Another great thing, as we just saw, is we can also see an overview of this manufacturing, what everything was needed. To do the lawn chair, we needed the upholstered frame, and we have the operation of assembly. We now have done everything. Again, start and stop here. There's a quality check that I created for the quality checks. Again, when we're creating an operation, we can create quality checks before we finish any of the operations. Again, something I believe should be discussed when we dig deeper into the manufacturing.
Yeah, so it's great, Enrique. I think we are probably on time. We'll will have some questions for us, but yeah, I do think we can talk about lots of these issues when we go into our next event, and we can detail a bit other topics regarding this quality control module that allows you to do a lot of things like filling in Excel sheets with parameters, just taking pictures and other interesting stuff. So Will, yeah, passing to you.
Well, thank you very much for that, guys. It was a great demo, and it really showcases the power of Odoo for the manufacturing industry. I'm now going to open the floor up for some questions. I'm just going to check over on YouTube. If you could direct all of your questions through YouTube, that would be great for our engagement.
Don't be shy, guys.
Okay, let me begin with one then. So this is a question for you, Diogo. So if a company is still using Excel to manage projects, what's the biggest risk they face?
Yeah, well, I think we have some experience because we've been not only in the furniture industry, in other industries. It's quite frequent we get new potential clients in stress because they are growing, and if you have things, if you have wrong data, if you have two Excel sheets that have separate information than what you have in the accounting software that you have on your website, and all of that is just going to create extra work. And so if you try to scale, it's going to be a problem. And usually that's the main pain we feel with our clients. We don't forget, we have an e-commerce module integrated directly into the system. We have clients that do bespoke, they do standardized, they sell B2C and B2B. And you can do all of that in one system. So you can have your e-commerce where you sell directly to consumer. You have you can define in each client a specific price list because it's a recurrent client, and so you can hand out a discount, a 5% discount for a specific client, for another, depending on the volume. And as soon as they log into the system, they'll be able to create the orders directly, and we will not have any work with that. And so it's much more scalable for sure than just having all the information scattered between a lot of systems.
Okay, got it. So we got a question from JBB Promotions. When you import companies' data from Excel, how do you ensure that the data is correct, and how long does it take to ensure the data is clean?
Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Enrique, if you...
Yeah, okay. It's kind of, it depends. I know that's an answer that it's kind of a broad answer, but it kind of depends on the data is sent to us. We normally like to send a template on how Odoo reads the data, and we have multiple templates for across the different modules for contacts, products, and so on. But it really kind of depends business for business, because there are businesses that really require a lot of information for products. For example, the weight, the HS code. They want to have like big descriptions, and all of that can be imported through Excel, and we can import all that data at once. Of course, we have the basic templates, and then those ones are we can then improve from that one, so we can import the basic products and then add more detail. In terms of timeline, if we send the templates with everything that is needed and we receive that data complete, it's pretty direct. It's something that it's pretty straightforward. If we receive data that needs to be worked on our side, again, as I mentioned, it really depends on how that data is provided.
Yep. But also let me add something. So our team is half of us are developers, the other half are business analysts. And so with some clients that have a large portfolio, they prefer to ask us to create a script to list all that data, remove the duplicates, and make the data transformation a bit easier with usually Python scripts. That's what we do.
Yeah, some real case, some examples. We had a client that wanted to add lots of optional products throughout the system, and as they work in the system, they want to add those items, and we have scripts that help that data management and that to read that data.
Okay, got it. Next question from Raphael. What should companies prepare before starting a project like this?
Yeah, well, I think the best thing I've seen companies do is to be sure of their processes. Instead of mapping what they want to have, start by mapping what you have today. That will give you a clear idea of what needs to be done. And it's also going to prepare us for stages in the project. Usually, we avoid doing too much changes to the process because it can turn out to be difficult in the implementation to change a lot of things, especially what we call change management, how people do the work today. But some things are easy because now you have an automated system and you can maybe cut some steps in the process without affecting the way people do their work on a daily basis. And so, yeah, if you have your process quite prepared with some diagrams, that helps out for sure.
Diogo, let me just add here on the Rafael's question, because on my side and on the project management side, the first thing that came into my mind was what do we need to start in terms of a company that when we want to go live, right? We want to have the stock, the trial balances, the open invoices, open bills. That's what I understood. So yes, when we were starting an instance from zero and if we want to bring all the accounting and all the past history, one of the things that we need is all your current open invoices, your current open credit notes, open bills, open refunds. We will then need your stock, and this stock needs to have a cost for each one of the items. And then all of this, even on the accounting side, and then on the inventory side, they all need to match what you send us as the trial balance. Right. This is very important because if we're going to use, and of course this applies to everyone that's going to use accounting in Odoo, if you're going to use accounting in Odoo, there are these initial rules that we need to make sure that they 100% follow and that they match so that we can start the system smoothly and with the correct past data. So I just wanted to mention, because there's the two sides, right? The pre-preparation for the go live, and then of course the business side and the how you handle your day-to-day work. And as you mentioned, those diagrams are very useful for us to understand.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. Got a great question here from Annabelle. We use Odoo for pipelining claims, furniture wholesale and retail business with multiple stock management system, but could we use Odoo for interior design and rentals?
Yeah, for sure. Exactly. The project view about doing an interior design project is applied the same way. So you can use one project to control what you sold first, and then what change requests were done. For the interior design, you can use specific project template that allows you to follow through the stages of a typical interior design project. Communication with your suppliers, for example, you can go into the project where you see the taskbar, and then you can click where it says purchase orders. You can create requests for quotation, which is a purchase order in draft mode, where you can start the communication with your providers, with your vendors, asking prices and options, products that you can use on your interior design project. So all that information can be collected in just one place. And of course, you also have a rentals module, which is quite capable in Odoo. where you can, of course, you have to establish what is your list of assets available for that rental module, and then it's going to control, using the sale order system mostly, you're going to control date of start, date of end, and it's going to control how much you have to invoice in each rental. So yeah, that's something Odoo. It's quite capable. It has all the modules. Sometimes we have to do a bit of custom coding to connect some of the apps. Of course, we avoid doing too much so that we avoid what we call technical debt, so that we can go live faster. I mean, client can get started with the project. But if you already have Odoo set up for furniture wholesale and retail, I guess it's going to be just a small project.
Yeah. I was just testing. I was just looking at the rental module because it's just installed and it's pretty much prepared. We can have pricing then per periods. If it's certain price lists per periods, we can have an hourly fine, a daily fine, reserved products, specific products that are just available for rental, products that are just differentiate between sales product, rental product. So yeah.
And it could be very useful, I think. I think it could be very useful for staging projects for real estate. Right?
Agreed. Yeah, things like the project template. A lot of interior design work, it goes through a process, doesn't it? So I think that would work really well. And then, of course, you've got the chatter, right? So you can all collaborate, track what's going on, assign tasks, all of that things will, I'm sure, help a project like that a lot. Okay, so you touched on customization a little bit. Oh, sorry, go on, Annabelle. We do staging too. The issue is we can't manage inventory inside of these projects. Allocating inventory to projects. Tricky one.
Maybe not so tricky, because your projects will have, for rental module, you will use sale orders, right? And so inside the project, you will see all the sale orders associated. And so some of those sale orders are going to be for rental. So now you have in the project, you also have the sale orders for rental. As I said, sometimes you need a little customization to make it more visible. But yeah, I think it works.
Yeah, and let me just add that again, then on the project view, as we add those sales orders, and I just show the tasks, sales orders, purchase, manufacturings, but we can also show the deliveries, the receipts, the rentals, the internal transfers. So from the project, we would be able to have that visual notice of everything, where everything is and how it's moving across.
Okay, great. Well, let's finish up with one question, because I'm mindful of the time. Now, I'm sure there's many people watching this that thinking, it sounds great, but how much customization is going to be required? How much is it going to cost?
Well, yeah, it's always the same answer. Nobody likes it. Depends, of course, but we try to do the opposite. We set a budget, usual budget, depending on the size of the company, depending on the size of the project, and then we make sure we restrict what needs to be done to the minimum. We take what we call a lean approach to Odoo implementation, which is just focusing on what is more important. And this is going to reduce a lot the cost of go live. Then after go live, most of our clients, they already know Odoo enough to take a lot of projects on their own, or if they need us to do some tweaking, they always have us to help managing or their server, because some of our clients are self-hosted, as they have a lot of orders, and so Odoo SH might be a bit too expensive for them, or to do small customizations that are going to make the difference, of course.
Okay, brilliant. So key takeaways from this webinar today is the sheer manufacturing flexibility that Odoo provides. You can do MTO, order-based orders. You can do make to stock. You can do project-based orders with multiple MOs, installations, and of course, Odoo version 19 is jam-packed full of AI all across the system and almost all the apps. You get a really nice modern interface. The system's affordable, and we really believe that it's a market-disrupting ERP. So if you'd like to find out more and book a meeting with us, I'm going to drop our Calendly link in the comments. You can book a meeting with me and Diogo, and we'd be happy to talk out more.
Oh, and I'm going to leave one thing in the air, is Odoo is also great with consignments, because I know that furniture companies work with a lot of it, sending to showrooms and other companies. So it's something that we've also been handling it, sometimes with a little bit of customization here and there. Yeah, also something that I know it's useful for the furniture business.
Excellent. All right. Thank you very much.
All right,
Thanks,
guys.
everyone.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Bye-bye.